Hello, me again. Quick video. This is a 442 Atlantic locomotive, cast, not plastic. It's fairly old. This is for anybody they'll know the brand. Made in Japan. I got it from trains.com. I know I've seen some of these on the interweb, and they're usually very expensive. I bought this one because it was beat up, and I figured it was going to have that the alloy frame or whatever was going to suffer from zinc pest or be weak, because they always are. Anyway, I got it in the mail. I put it on the track. It was very, very noisy. Wobbled a real lot. I mean, really bad. So I did some modifications to it, and the frame broke. Not because of the modifications, just because it is what it is. So I got it back together, and I'll just run it real quick, and then I'll tell you what I did, and I'll do another video, and I'll dismantle it when I put a light in it. It like, not only did it rock back and forth, but it was horrible. I mean, and it made so much noise. It was insanely loud. We'll get to that in a minute, but so I made it a lot quieter. It still wobbles, and I'll tell you why it wobbles. But considering what it is, and I was able to get it back running, I consider myself lucky. I paid $80 for it. Probably shouldn't have bought it, but I wanted one of these, so I was pretty much willing to do whatever I had to do to get it running. I just didn't want to spend $150, $200 for one, because I've seen them online for one that was gonna crumble in my hands. You'll see it when it goes through the turns that it really hobbles up and down. And anyway, hold on for a minute, and I'm going to show you what I did here. Okay, we're going to disconnect the tender. Okay, so this is the bottom of it, and where the frame broke is where the U channel is here, where this driver sits. Now, this here it's got a little bit of movement to it, which is fine. It was really, really sloppy. So I used this type of metal right here, which I believe is copper. Came out of another train that you use for the contacts, and I cut it and bent U's out of them and put them in place on either side, and then another set on the top, and pushed it down in so it picked up some of the slop. This front one had one already in it. These ones were missing, so it was really, really sloppy. The motor noise was insane, very, very loud. I took the motor out, and I put 2 layers of masking tape underneath it to cushion it a little bit, put the screw back in it, and in order to get the gear to touch, the worm gear to touch the gear on this axle, I had to put a shim on the back, which there was one originally. It was plastic, but I needed something a little bit thicker. Now, in doing that, you don't hear the whirring of the motor. It runs really quiet for an all metal locomotive. You do hear it in reverse, though. It's kind of loud and obnoxious, but it is what it is. So that's about as good as I could get it. Now, that helped with a lot of the wobbling. What I also did was, very carefully, I soldered a wire to the wheel. I held the wheel with, the wheel has plastic in it, an isolator. I held it with the pair of needle nose so it would dissipate the heat. It was kind of a nightmare to do, but I was able to solder it on there. So I got a little bit more electrical connection than what originally just had on these two wheels. The front ones don't pick up power, even though they should, but they don't. They're not designed that way. So where it broke was right in the center where the axle fit. So what I did was I grinded down some of the metal on either side and on the top, and I super glued it, crazy glued it back together, waited for it to dry, and then where I grinded some of the material down, I filled it with glue and baking soda on the sides and on the top where the gear is, but not affecting the gear itself. And it actually held. It was actually pretty strong. The thing broke as soon as I took it apart. Basically, I put a little bit of pressure on it and it snapped. I didn't realize it was going to be that weak. Plus, this bottom cover helps hold it together, so it's not going to go anywhere. Part of the reason why these things wobble, and anybody that has one is going to know, these wheels are not, the rims are not tapered. They're completely cut flat, machined flat. There's like no taper to them at all. So when it goes through the turns, because they're not tapered, it causes it to wobble even more. The wheels have to be tapered. The inside diameter has to be larger than the outside diameter, and it's not. You can actually see that by looking at it. They're pretty damn flat. If they are tapered, it's to the point where I can't tell. I do have a micrometer. I'm not going to bother using it because it's acting exactly like it's not tapered by hobbling. The wheels on even a real locomotive are tapered for that reason. So when they go through the corners, they don't hobble. So that's that. But it does run, and it runs fairly quiet. And it can pull a decent amount of weight for something that doesn't have any traction tires. It's more as an ornament than something that I'm really going to use because it is so old. It's probably older than me. It's in, the shell and everything is in really good shape. Someone put a cow catcher, which is really not the real name. And even if it was to have a cow catcher on it, it would have been made out of wood. But I just elected to keep it on there. I didn't break it off or anything, so I'll leave it on there. I'll add a light and oil it up a little bit, but it runs okay. It works. Like I said, I paid I think $70 for it, $75 for it off of trains.com, and it did run when I got it out of the box. It just ran horrible. Very, 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 very noisy, to the point where it was just absolutely annoying noisy. And I'll put it back on the track right now, and then we'll listen to it. Hold on for a second. All right, so it's back on the track. We'll oh. So it's not bad going forward, but in reverse, thing's loud as hell. And no matter how I reposition the wheel, see how it wobbles a lot in back? It wobbles a ton in reverse. Now, it used to do that going forward. If anybody has any suggestions, it's like, it's really, really bad compared to where it is forward. Anybody has any suggestions, and leave them in the comment. See how bad that wobbles? It wobbles like it's got a flat tire. And I don't really know why. But it used to do that in the forward direction as well. Like I said, I cut little brass. I made little brass bearings for the axle to sit on so it wouldn't wobble so much. The wheels are definitely quartered. They're quartered correctly. I took them off and checked them. So I don't know why, if it's just because it's made so damn crude or what, but it wobbles a lot less in reverse, forward, and it's a lot more quieter. It used to make that much noise going forward and back, and like I said, I shimmed the motor up at an angle. It could just be that the gear is worn, I don't know, and I'm kind of cheating it by the position that I have it in there. So I don't know. I'm still going to do some tweaking. If anyone, like I said, if anybody has any ideas, please leave them in the comment. This is the only second locomotive I've ever gotten that was made out of cast. And I know the brass ones and the cast ones are really hard to make run right. They're kind of crude. But anyway, let me know what you think, and have a great evening. Thank you.